Welcome to this how-to video. My name is Kelly Campbell. I look after Protecht ERM Help, and I'm going to give you an overview of the Frameworks library and show you how to set up and use your frameworks. We've introduced the Frameworks library along with the new Controls library so you can link controls to industry standards and regulations. In Protecht ERM, a framework is a source document that contains specific criteria or requirements such as regulations, industry standards, or authority documents. The Frameworks library helps you quickly gather evidence for assurance and identify gaps against specific requirements. So here's a breakdown of what this video will cover. First, we'll look at an overview of the Frameworks library and how it works. Then we'll create a framework data register so we can add fields to the framework section entry form to suit your requirements. Next, we'll create and link a new framework. And finally, we'll publish that new framework for use in the system. This video is about the Frameworks library and new Controls library included in version 12 of Protecht ERM. These features are included but switched off so they don't disrupt your existing controls process or structure. When you're ready to use them, please contact your account manager. You can link controls to industry standards and regulations in the Frameworks library. This allows you to quickly gather evidence for assurance and identify gaps against specific requirements, as you can see at a glance which requirements of a framework are linked to a control. You can also link overlapping requirements from different frameworks to prevent duplication of work. Each framework exists in the library as a framework hierarchy. The framework definition is the root or top level of the hierarchy, and it contains essential details about the source document. Under the framework definition, we add each requirement described in the document as a hierarchy of framework sections. The default entry form for each framework section contains fields for the requirement name, content, and linking. You can add other data capture fields to this form by creating your own framework data register. This also allows you to report on each framework separately in Analytics, and we recommend creating a framework data register for each new framework that you add to your library. To create a framework data register, open the Frameworks library. You should find this option in the same menu where your Controls library sits. Then click Register Designer. This button opens the special Framework Register Designer. Registers and sections created in the standard Register Designer and Section Designer can't be used for frameworks. Click Create New to begin making your framework data register. Add a name and description for the register. Then open the Sections tab and click Create Section. Add a name and description for the section and then open the Fields tab to add your fields. There are 3 minimum fields that you must add to your framework data register section: a single line text field, a rich text field, and a Boolean field. Apart from these 3 fields, you can add any other fields that are available here in this section dialog. There's more detail on adding fields to sections available in our help. When you have added all your fields, click Save and then save the register. After saving the register, open it up again and open the Field Mapping tab. Click New Field Mapping and then select Framework from the Field Mapping Criteria drop-down. Next, map each of the mandatory fields. These fields don't need to be mandatory in your entry form, they are mandatory in the sense that they must be present in the register. Finally, save the mapping and then save the register. And now we're going to create a new framework using our new framework data register. So once again, opening the Frameworks library and then click New Framework. Complete the fields in the framework definition. At Framework Data Register, I'm going to select the new Framework Data Register that we just created. At Additional Linked Items, you can select the controls library and any other registers that you want to be able to link to this framework. If nothing is selected here, you will only be able to link this framework to other frameworks. Click Save when you're finished. The framework hierarchy then opens, containing only the framework definition at the root or top level. To begin adding structure and requirements to the hierarchy, click New Section. Complete the fields in the entry form as required, save, and repeat to add more framework sections. To link to and from each framework section, enable linking using the Boolean field that you mapped in the Framework Data Register earlier. Once selected, tabs are available for linking to other entries, assuming you have selected items in the Additional Linked Items field in the framework definition. So you can now open each tab and link as required. Once you have added your framework sections, you can use the arrow buttons or handles to edit the hierarchy and change the position of various framework sections. If you do make any changes in this way, make sure to save the hierarchy. Once your framework sections are linked to controls and register entries, you can see these links at a glance in the framework hierarchy. So you can see the blank spaces where requirements don't have any linked controls. Use the View selector in the toolbar to choose which item links are showing. Finally, we can publish the framework when we're ready to implement it. When published, links to other entries in the system become visible on both sides of the link, from the framework and from the linked entry. You can publish a framework from either the framework hierarchy or the framework definition. Then simply click the transition button at the top of the form. And now that my framework is published, I can go into the linked control and see the link to the new framework. To see links to published frameworks from a register form, you need to add a framework links field to the register. Here's a very quick demo using the policies register that I have linked to my new framework. And now that I've added the framework links field to the register, we go into the entry form, we can see that yes, that entry is linked to the framework section.